We are live.
And then we have El Chapo, who asked, I have a landscape maintenance company and want to transition to landscape construction.
Right.
How do I make the transition?
Dude, you need, name? What do we know?
El Chapo.
El Chapo. Cool name. Freaking, not a gangster, kind of a gangster. But anyway, look, I think if you're going to make that conversion, you kind of need some, I'm going to say luck, because I'm just saying that the ball needs to bounce your way. I think what you need is a breakthrough. I think one of my breakthrough moments in my construction career was, less than 12 months after I got my builder's license, I got the opportunity to build a fiveplex, which was a $1.1 million project. And I'd only been building $50,000 to $100,000 jobs. So the thing was that I had spent 16 years working on major townhouse developments. So I had not been the principal general contractor, but I'd been exposed to the program and the systems and the infrastructure and the logistics and, the communication between trades and blah, blah, blah. So there was actually work that I'd done. So I think, El Chapo, based on the work that you've done, really the only thing that I think differs is the structural landscaping as opposed to what I'd call soft landscaping. I might have that wrong, but I think the fact that you're staying in your landscaping ecosystem, you need to sit down, and this is what we call working on your business instead of in your business. So what you're going to need to do is think about what's the end game? Okay, well, I want a client that wants me to do soft landscaping because I've done a little bit of landscaping in my time. I don't profess to be a landscaper. I like landscaping, but as far as I can see, we would always go in and do a lot of the earthworks. We would then put retaining walls in, both square block maybe, but in the old days, we actually used to do the old school rock walls with mortar between on a footing, and it was pretty old school. And then you'd go into maybe like pergolas and gazebos and hardcore paving and things like that. And then even swimming pools, right? So, if I've got that right, then I think what you need to do is, I would say, start small. What you want to do is do like 80% of what you're used to doing, and then try and find a smaller job that embraces everything you've got to do with structural landscaping. And then what you want to do is phase that through from an 80-20 split. And then slowly, if you want to move it into 100%, I think it's just a time. So what you're going to need to do, if you've got a good website, what you're going to need to do is, on the jobs that you do get that actually fit your long-term goal, you want to double down and try and get either Google reviews and comments, or get them on your website on a video. Now, that means you're going to have to find a videographer. Like some of the times that we do smaller jobs, we don't ask the clients for video testimonial. But certainly on, jobs that are decent size, I'm talking from 15 to 20 grand upwards, you'd want to go, hey, would you mind if, a company comes in and does a little bit of video? It'd really help prospective clients of mine get to know me by talking to a previous customer. That is actually, that is the way that I would approach that. And so what that's going to help you do is you'll slowly build up momentum. So momentum is hard to get, but it's easy to lose. So the best way you can build momentum in your business, and maybe moving from one side of the ledger to this other side, is definitely going to be in how you build your reputation over a period of time to get access to clients that pay you $100,000, $150,000 for structural landscaping. I hope that helps, El Chapo. Next question.
Okay, the next question is actually from El Chapo again.
Boom.
Do you guys teach all the different trades that a GC needs to know about?
In other words, do I coach the different trades? No, look, I mean, we're doubling down working with our general contractors, and, we obviously teach them how to engage with GCs and, RFQs or requests for quotations and things like that. So Smith & Sons that's me, right? I sell franchises under the Smith & Sons banner. We become, general contractors that are Smith & Sons operatives. But the business for builders is essentially where we are investigating the options of coaching subcontractors, because it could help both general contractors perhaps that either haven't got the financial wherewithal, or in a location that we can't sell a franchise, or just don't want to buy a franchise but want the coaching. There's definitely, from what I see in very short time, that there is a lot of people that absolutely want some education around how to operate a subcontract business. And having been a subcontractor for, easily 16 years on top of an apprenticeship, I've probably got a thing or two to say about what it takes to be a successful sub, but also what it takes I can actually shed some light from a general contractor standpoint about what I would expect or what I see as good qualities for a subcontractor. So in other words, if you want the good oil, this is what I would suggest you do as a subcontractor if you want to be a sought after and a professional operation. So yeah, just hit me up with an email, El Chapo. Like I might talk to you about that. I've had guys from all over the country, from Australia. They're like, hey Max, do you offer some coaching? And I really have not focused because I'm in the franchise game. And I sort of do this just to give some value back to the industry that's really, fed me and my family for, 30 years. But it's really great. I think if there's a desire there that the guys and gals want some coaching from a subcontractor standpoint, I probably can't help myself. I'll design, it'll cost you some money, but I will put something in there and we'll design a bit of a curriculum perhaps and see how we go. So hit me up on email or go to Business for Builders and get in contact with us there. businessforbuilders.ca. Go, Jill.
Okay, Nate said, I'm 22 and work in ITMTH. I work with custom home builder on the weekend. How should I start on my own?
Fire your boss and go work for the builder. No. I don't know if did he say he's doing an apprenticeship?
He said I work in ITMTH.
ITMTH. That might be a commercial company. I'm not sure. And he said he works for a builder on the side on a Saturday. Mm-hmm. Right, but he wants to go out on his own. Okay, dude, I lack so much information. Did he say he's young? Okay, see, I need a bunch of information.
I'm 22. Yep.
Okay, he's 22. Right. So again, if you were online and listen to that behind the scenes podcast, check out episode number 90. What's this?
96.
96, and I've just run through 13 points. Look, I think you want to be careful on how you negotiate and navigate your way out of that. But I think it can be done. You need to go and get, I don't even know which country he's from, so I can't speak to what technical credentials he's got to get. And then there's going to be some financial capacity that you're going to need to have. Like I know in Canada, I think you got to put up 10 or 15,000 as a bond before they'll give you a builder's license. So you've got to be able to get the credentials. You've got to be able to have the financial wherewithal to set yourself up, and then you can go into building a building company, which is tremendously challenging. So look, we don't have any other episodes that can help this. I need to know more. I need to get more context. What was his name? Damn it.
That was Nate.
Nate, you got to send me an email, champ, max@businessforbuilders.ca. Got to give me a bit more background as to what's going in. I think I'm getting a call from Washington. So from Seattle, someone wants it. I'm going to bump that. It's probably a scammer call. Who knows?
You could tell Nate that we have a whole playlist on our YouTube that's for starting up a contracting business.
Right, Nate. Whole playlist on our YouTube about general contractors starting out. It doesn't matter what age you are, but certainly it's definitely important for young operators to maybe just check out those couple of versions or couple of episodes or couple of videos. Yep.
So we got another question from El Chapo. Will I have to go to school for general contracting here in Oregon?
Okay, right. I got a family member in Oregon at the moment. What I want you to do is reach out to a building association. So we've got Canadian Home Builders Association here in Canada. I want you to reach out, and it might be the National Home Builders Association. I think the NHBA. I don't know if that's an American, but I'm sure like there's a Texas. In Texas, they've got a Home Builders Association. So I would reach out to an industry association. And I would probably pay you to become a member. I pay probably around $1,300 a year, and I've got Canadian Home Builders membership on Vancouver Island, in British Columbia, and soon to be in Alberta as well. Yep, and so those are really good. If you can build a relationship, they're great for industry advice. I mean, it's impossible for me to know exactly each area, but I would say it would be easy enough for you to get onto the information to figure out, okay, what are the technical credentials that I'm going to need before I start to fill out the paperwork and submit that to the building authority, in your state. I love using the word state because where I come from, it's all state. And then I get into this Canadian place and I've got to call it a province. So, check out the home building authority in your state, and they should be able to point you in the right direction pretty damn quickly. Probably a Google search, man, would actually do it as well. Was that El Chapo? Yeah. Yeah, he's got the trifecta going on. He's got my attention today. Righto. What else?
Okay, so YDNXN asks, how do you finance your first build?
Using customers' money. It's just the way it goes. I could literally go out today I mean, you're going to spend a lot of money to start with, right? You're going to have to set your business up. You might have to set a website up. You might have to buy a URL. Might have to pay a website designer, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, if I go and do a kitchen for someone for 50 or 75 grand, I'm going to take 35% on contract signing. So what you want to do is, what you have to do is, if you are doing that, know this. If you're marking up at the right percentage, you have to be marking up 45 to 50%. And I know that sounds a lot, but in the reno game, it's becoming more and more the norm, which gives you a profit margin percentage. Markup is different to margin, right? So what you've got to do is, let's say you took 30,000. Well, only 30% of that 30,000 actually is yours to invest in your operating cost and to pay your company bills, et cetera, et cetera. That means 21,000 has to go to materials and labor to do the first phase of play. Always be mindful. And that's where we do work in progress reports on a monthly basis. We want to drill down on your financials so you know what your level of equity in the business is or what your level of liability is in the business. So using other people's money is cute and it works, but I'm telling you, it can blow you sideways quick. If you spend money on the wrong things, you'll be out before you even get started. And the majority of building companies go under in the first 5 years, like something like 70 or 80%. It's ridiculous. Actually, I've got another number which I included in in a PowerPoint. It was something like 93% of building companies go out of business by year 10. Like, guys and girls, this is real. You are fighting for your life. So it is possible to start a general contracting company. Now, the other thing you can do, you can put your neck in a noose and you can go and sign a personal guarantee with a whole bunch of commercial suppliers. A commercial account, which is a charge-up account with a bunch of suppliers, which means you can buy stuff on the first of the day of the month and not have to pay for it for literally 60 days. But you go and do some dumb shit on that and you spend some money that you shouldn't. Dude, in 60 days, you're going to be in hot water and you're going, I don't know where all the money went. I know I've got a new jet ski in the driveway and a new pickup truck. I don't know where the money went. Guys, please, 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 you've got to be very prudent and, very vigilant when it comes to finances. So, yeah, it's definitely doable, and there's a few ways you can do it, but I'm telling you, you're your most vulnerable when you start, and you're actually more vulnerable the bigger you get. Once you start doing over $1 million, keeping track of who owes who in the zoo, super difficult. And you've got to have financial systems and processes in place. So I hope that helps. Nate, no, that was, oh gosh.
That was, oh gosh.
Don't worry about it. He knows who he is.
That was YD. Yeah, it was YDXN.
Right. Tricky username. Let's go. Next one.
All right. We got a question from Jacob, but first he did give us some love. He said Max deserves nothing less than 10-10. 10 on 10. Keep up the good work, brother.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate it, Jacob. You're the guy.
So Jacob asked, what's a good place to find startup capital, government grants, and which ones? Loans, investments?
I would love to know, because I've seen his Instagram and his TikTok, I think. Definitely seen his TikToks. He shot me some videos as well on email. Dude, when you're asking me that question, look, I think you can build it without. I'd love to. You know what I might do? I might get a phone call with you, Jacob, and we can fast track this really quick. So I might give you what I want you to do. You've got my email before. I might even have your cell number on there, Jacob. So why don't you? I've got your email. We'll set up a time. But look, to help everyone, my opinion, right? This is the way. When I get asked that question, and of course I want to help Jacob out. I just think if you're asking that question, I would hesitate a little bit, and I'd say I think you're trying to grow too big too fast, which means you're going to be top heavy, and that's a really dangerous place to be. I know guys right now that are spending 40 plus grand a month. And I'm telling you, they're going out the back door to rate of knots and they're acting desperately. And it's just, once you get yourself chained to that financial wheel where it's a negative nosedive situation financially, it takes every piece of, emotional quotient to keep your head to try and pull that thing out of a dive. So that's my initial thing. It's like, why are you asking for government grants? And the reason I would say, let's say my opinion is, I'm going to ask you to avoid that. Go and build it the slow, hard way. And, I'm 49 and I'm still a frigging clown and I have fun and, I don't feel 49. Shit, if this is how if I'd have known at 25, this is how I was going to feel when I was 49, I would have been like, whatever. It's just a number, right? I would say go build it the old school way and put one brick on top of another brick. Build that wall one brick at a time, because the reason is you're going to learn so much in the process. What you're trying to do is take a shortcut, which kind of looks good on paper, but what you're doing is you're shortchanging yourself in the development phase. See, like weight or resistance builds muscle mass. When you go to the gym, everyone wants to bench 225. And maybe you can do that. We'll start doing, 6 reps at 250. Knock yourself out. I don't really like the gym myself, but I understand the concept. So what I'm saying is build it the old school way. Go to the gym and do the reps. Have that right diet. Make sure you're feeding yourself with the right protein. Munch on some creatine like my boy does. Like he's a bit of a bodybuilder. So I can't talk, Dad. I got creatine in my mouth. I'm like, crikey. So I would say that I'm not about reaching success at a high level. I just understand that the process it's why when you do martial arts, and I've got a receptionist who's got a black belt. What do you got a black belt in, Junie? Taekwondo? Have you got a black belt in what? What do you have a black belt in? Right.
And spreadsheets.
No, she doesn't know how to do macros. I can't give her a black belt on spreadsheets. She's literally sitting at my front desk right now, and she has a black belt in Taekwondo. Do you think that would have taken 5 minutes? No, it doesn't. So what you want to do is enjoy the process, Jacob. But certainly, mate, if I've overlooked something or I've missed something, I've definitely not got the right context, probably. Let's have a jam. So let's book a time. We'll have a quick chat. I'll give you an hour of my time, and we'll see what happens. See if we can't make some improvements. What's next?
On the tail end of that llast question, Derek said, "No loans, don't have any investors, own it and run it yourself."
So has Derek said that?
Yes.
Yeah. Look, definitely. Builders go and borrow money all the time, right? You're doing spec homes. That's one way of doing it. But you've got your neck in a noose. You're over a barrel financially, and you don't know the rules of engagement. What I'd encourage you to do is do a 2-year apprenticeship, doing it the hard way, like I've alluded to, and then make the jump and go, right, now I'm educated around finance. What I can do is assume a little bit more risk, making sure that you're educated in that regard. That is a calculated risk. And then maybe, look into some more adventure in that regard. So, yeah, good one, Derek.
Derek also said, good for you. 10 to 15 years ago, nobody would express their own experiences or lessons.
Cheers, mate. Look, yeah, not a big deal. My ego's, balanced with my humility. Like, I just make so many cock-ups every day, every week. It's hilarious. And I find it laughable. So I'm glad it's helping someone.
Disco Boy said...
Disco Boy's back. Yeah. I know. I remember Disco Boy. G'day, Disco Boy.
He said, you've done jobs over $1 million. Not many of those in the UK, LOL.
Right. Yep. Look, I watched Top Gear years and years ago, and I'm like, I don't know, that country looks so small. I've watched documentaries on World War I, and I'm like, it's all that whole European thing is, weird. But, I imagine that and that was in residential, essentially. We actually pulled down, I should get some photos of this job I keep banging on about. I should get the before and after shots up there. We should post that on Business for Builders. Totally. And that's in my PowerPoint to my guys anyway, so I can get that. But, yeah, look, I have no idea on how the real estate network works there, but it was an 8,500 square foot lot, or 9,000 square foot, which is about 825 square meters. It was a house lot, a large house lot, just under a quarter of an acre. And yeah, we put 5 townhouses in that. And I tell you, that took everything that I had to make that work, because yeah, it was so tight. There was what we call zero boundaries, where literally the building wall was only a gutter width off of my actual legal survey, side boundary. So, yeah, talk about having to have your head in the game. That one consumed me for a long time. I can't even remember what other projects we're doing at that time. I had a superintendent, because my focus was on that elephant project for real. So, yeah, no worries. Good, and he's from the UK. Good to have you on the show.
And then Brandon asked, best method to learn solid estimating?
Oh, look. Good question, Brandon. I think solid estimating, like I've said, that profit is a natural byproduct of good estimating. And so, I think, you know what, Jill, what we're going to do is I got to get to this. I want to put some checklists on the Business for Builders page under, I didn't want to call it resources. What was I going to call it? Something else.
Contractor toolkits.
Startup toolkit. Something like that. I have about a 10-page estimating checklist, which is, there's no proprietary information on that. It's literally just the build stages. And it's just as a checklist. It's all about predominantly building it in your head. So for me, having spent so much time on, residential period, but also on townhouse projects, mentally I knew what was needed next and what we had to estimate. So when I'd look through the estimates that we'd done, we could highlight, ironically enough, that on that $1.1 million project, we actually, Jace, my estimator, who was a carpenter that worked for me for years and years, he come to me cap in hand 3 weeks in and said, I've forgotten the ceramic tile. So even though, and now this is 12 years ago, so I definitely wasn't the operator maybe then what I am now. So even we're doing on a massive learning curve, but even then I could build the majority of it in my head. So what you need to do is just really, again, work on your business, not in it, and go, right, if I was to develop a checklist like Max is banging on about, then I need to go and sit down and think about these projects that I do, whether it's a bathroom, kitchen, basement development, addition, second story addition, whatever the case may be, even a deck. Go, what is the checklist in the estimating process? Now, yeah, look, I kind of get excited. It's really doesn't, there's no benefit to me to draw up, to get these checklists redesigned slightly and be able to put on public domain. I think if it's an easy one for me to spot, yeah. But that's how I would do it. I'd have a really good approach in my thought process around building it in my head. And then you want to have, and I know there might be some guys and gals out there that are ninjas with spreadsheets, but I kid you not, once you get into a software, you'll never go back. You'll be thinking, why did I ever not invest this couple of $100 a month, in having a very competent software program that does estimates and quote letters and allows me to back cost, and I can do invoices and I can do change orders and work orders and project scheduling. It's like, need I say more? It's such a great investment. But again, do what you can do with the finance you have and rehearse it. The more you do, like I'm going to go race go-karts this weekend. I might even get some footage. My boy's going to be racing for the first time this weekend, so no doubt we'll have some cameras out. But I'm telling you, if you come down and said, Max, how do I do faster lap times? I'll be like, mate, the equipment is perfect. It's got nothing to do with the cart or the car. It's got everything to do with the driver. And I would say this is the same thing. To get better at estimating, understand a few of the basic fundamentals, keep it out of the weeds, keep it off the tires, just do more laps and time in the seat. And that's how you're going to get better estimating. Incorporate all the softwares and systems and processes, but you have got to really get your head straight and understand the projects. Hope that helps, Brandon.
Okay, so Helmet Head. What is the time scale on planning permissions in Nova Scotia?
Okay, look, what I would say, here's what I'd give you. I have no idea, dude. I'm on the West Coast, but it may or may be as good or worse or better. I have no idea. But the indication I give clients here, because we charge for quotes, I would do 4 to 8 weeks for what I would call the design. So quoting and design is 4 to 8 weeks. And that's because we deep dive. Like, these clients don't just pay me for a number that I come up with overnight and give them one piece of paper, there you go. Like, they don't pay me hundreds of dollars, if not thousands, to do that without getting some really rock and roll value. What we do is we then make recommendations that it's for approval and permitting, if that's how we've got to go, because it's a project that demands that. It's 8 to 12, in some cases it could be 16, but depending on the municipality that you're in, depending on which city you're dealing with, it really depends on their backlog and their staffing. I know here in town, there's one guy that stamps plans. Like, are you shitting me? Like, this is a government department, for crying out loud, and they're running seriously short of staff. And that's why in this town it's 14 weeks. So yeah, I don't know whether that's, if you tell me it's less than that in Nova Scotia, I think I might move my whole operation to Nova Scotia. Next question. Hope that helps. Helmet Head.
Then we got another question from Jacob. He said, what software do you recommend to everyone?
Right. So we use Build Exact. We wouldn't remember which episode. 75?
I got it. Episode 75.
Right.
I'll write it down.
We get that question a lot. So episode 75 on the Business for Builders podcast. And if you've got a pen, it's going to be in the bio. It'll be somewhere. Build Exact. So if you can remember, we want to build exactly how we estimate. So it's buildexact.ca. There's no kickback to these guys. We've just got over 100 franchises using it in 3 countries. So you ask me what I use, I tell you. I don't think any software's perfect. I get some guys in my group that go, yep, it's fine, suits me, it's good. I get some guys that go, look, there's some quirky little things which piss me off, but not a big deal. I get others that like to really just throw up all over me about it and want me to try and do miracles with software companies, third-party software companies. I don't own them. I don't control them. They do whatever they want. I'm really ham and a sandwich there. I can't do nothing. But It's certainly, I mean, multiple, like over $100 million worth of work between over 100 franchises is what we put through using Build Exact. So buildexact.ca if you're in Canada. I think it's .com if you're in Australia. I think it's .com.au. Sorry, .com if you're in the States, .com.au if you're in Oz. And I have no idea what it would be if it's in the UK. Getting back to our UK mate. Okay, what next?
So that's it for questions. Jacob says he's out now. Have a great day. I'll get you my digits max.
Righto, sweet as a nut. Well,
Okay.
we'll shut up shop and see you on the next episode. Time out. Let's get out of here. Let's go.